Every single
Right
time.
back at you, Kay.
Well,
Safe pair of hands.
They could have had you in Coronation Street, actually. You see, Glenda, recently the victim of a very nasty burglary at Rovers Return.
Hey, I called the police!
Do not move! Stay on the floor!
It's interesting because they're focusing there on her flashbacks of that event. And I imagine if you've gone through something as traumatic, thank goodness I haven't, but it probably does always sit in your mind, Judy?
Yeah, thank God I haven't been through anything as traumatic as that regards to burglary. But I do remember being about 11 or so, and our home where me and my mum and my sister lived got burgled. And it was such a... Even at that young age, although we wasn't there when it happened, it was just that feeling of, like, oh, my gosh, someone's invaded your home. You know, not even... I can still remember that night afterwards, like, just not wanting to sleep in the house. And I think my mum's best friend came and stayed over, and another auntie, because you just didn't feel like, you know, it was your place again. At one place you want to go to where you have peace.
Yeah, your sanctuary.
Your sanctuary is your home. So when that's invaded, you feel so lost. And if I remember that at 11, you know, if people go through that at any ages where it's even more traumatic, could you imagine what impact that has on them then and now?
You're always on guard then, aren't you? Anything you hear, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I heard something last night and I got a bit nervous and I was ready and I looked and it was the fox outside. Tried it. Do you know what the fox did? It undid a bottle. I've never...
Do you think it did, Judy?
What kind of fox? It did. It opened the bottle. It opened...
No, it did not.
It did. It opened... I don't know how it did it, but it opened a bottle. What kind of fox?
You've got it on your phone.
We are into Brenda territory here. When she tells me that her cat talks to her, I go, yeah, Brenda. But, you know, you used that word sanctuary, which made me think of you, Kelly, actually. This is a conversation that we've had in the past, when your sanctuary is invaded. And you've been in that situation from another perspective, haven't you?
Yeah, from a completely different perspective. It wasn't burglars coming into a place, but it was people in my safe place, which was my job, in the military, coming in and invading our rooms, our privacy. So this was during the time when there was a law against homosexuality in the military. And even if you weren't gay or not known to be gay, what happened is they had this witch hunt. And it was early 90s, and there's hundreds and hundreds of service personnel that have fought on the front line, that have had long service careers that were affected by this. But I was 22 when the police came into our barracks, knocked on our door. 3 of them came into my room. So imagine you're at home, so you've seen this, and they are literally ripping up all of your belongings.
What are they looking for?
Well, any evidence that might associate you with being with the same-sex couple. But I was 22, I wasn't even seeing anyone. It was just that the whole... But the whole point is that they come in and literally rip your place apart, but they're there vilifying you in your face. Now, I suppose if a burglar was there with a weapon, you would be literally petrified. They weren't with a weapon, but I couldn't do anything because there was a law. I couldn't do anything because I was so at risk of losing my career, my job, being jailed if I'd been found out to be gay.
This is crazy.
Being sent home to tell my parents, like all the things. And the bit that is more heartbreaking about that situation is a sliding doors moment for me, because I went on to have a long, successful career. I wasn't chucked out the army. I was just left with that PTSD of that humiliation of people coming in and violating my space. But there's so many veterans that are living their life of fear, mental health problems, got chucked out, you know, jailed, abused sexually and verbally because of the whole point they might be gay. Now, that law has been upturned now, and since 2000, it's probably the best place for diversity and inclusion. But it doesn't matter how or where or whatever. Fear is so debilitating. So when a moment happens, that can continue in your head for so many years.
Does it build your own prison for you, but you're living in your own prison.
You're living in, and it doesn't matter. No one's fear is worse than anyone else's when it's your life, and whatever that affects. And for me, it did have a big traumatic time of my life because, of course, I couldn't live my life authentically, but it was more the humiliation. People coming in and ransacking, like, literally all my belongings, all on the floor and ripped up, and just my TV, everything over, and then they just leave. and leave you to that mess.
Leave you,
You know, and the whole thing is I didn't want to lose my career. I loved being in the army, but there's people that given that job. They were given that job to do it, whereas burglars are not given that job to do it, and they have no damn right to invade your privacy.
No.